Hi, everybody. Today's gospel reflection comes from the 13th chapter of the Gospel of Luke. Now, Jesus was teaching in one of the synagogues on the Sabbath. And just then, there appeared a woman with a spirit that had crippled her for 18 years. She was bent over and quite unable to stand up straight. When Jesus saw her, he called her over and said, "Woman, you are set free from your ailment." When he laid his hands on her, immediately she stood up straight and began praising God. But the leader of the synagogue, indignant because Jesus had cured on the Sabbath, kept saying to the crowd, "There are 6 days on which work ought to be done. Come on those days and be cured, and not on the Sabbath day." But the Lord answered him and said, "You hypocrites! Does not each of you on the Sabbath untie his ox or his donkey from the manger and lead it away to give it water? And ought not this woman, a daughter of Abraham, whom Satan bound for 18 long years, be set free from this bondage on the Sabbath day?" When he said this, all his opponents were put to shame, and the entire crowd was rejoicing at the wonderful things that he was doing. We sure do like our rules, don't we? We tend to worship them. And one of the key kind of movements and kind of thrusts of Jesus' life and ministry is that he always put people first. People, relationship is what matters. Now the law, and he says that I didn't come to abolish the law, but to fulfill the law. But there's a way in which we can get so legalistic about the laws. And this story in Luke's gospel is kind of just a very good example of that moment, where here is this woman suffering. It is Sabbath. It's a day of rest. He heals, and the leaders of the temple get indignant, as they said in the text. And Jesus heals them. But he says it very clearly. You even let your donkey drink, and yet we won't care for people. And so think about the law about the Sabbath. The Sabbath is holy, keep it holy. It's a gift for human beings because we are such driven creatures. We will work ourselves to death. And the law says to keep this day holy, not for God, but for us. It is this idea that we need rest, we need restoration. It is that opportunity to drink deeply from God's grace. Yet Jesus says people even trump that law, that this woman's need was more important than keeping a rule. And so as we go through this season of much activity and all of sorts of things that are going on, and I'm sure there are a lot of rules, I invite us all to examine where the rules get put in priority over people and help pray for me that I will resist that and that I will remember Jesus' teachings, Jesus' life, Jesus' ministry that always put people first. Amen.